What's up everyone, this is Marky2200 and welcome to my Need for Speed testing series. Today we're gonna wrap up Need for Speed Underground and we are going to test all the cars from worst to best based on their drifting capabilities. All the cars have been fully upgraded with some exceptions here and there, and they have been visually customized because, as we know, visual customization does not affect handling, performance, drag, downforce whatsoever. The ranking will be based on the best drift combo. So basically I gave myself 10 laps and some attempts here and there. Some cars needed 2 attempts, some cars needed 3 attempts. But basically what I did is I tried to get the best single drift combo. So basically the easier the car is to drift, the more easy I'm able to get a bigger combo. Thus meaning the worst drift cars acquire the lowest combo and the best drift cars acquire the highest combo. So without any further ado, let's see which of the cars is the worst overall for drifting, and that at number 20 we have the Nissan Skyline GTR. I only managed to get a best drifting combo score of 41,270 points, and that's just because due to the amount of grip that the front has, it's impossible to get a high combo. Even with stock tires, this car has too much grip in order to just maintain an amazing combo. So it is what it is. At number 19 we have the Nissan 240SX, which I managed to get a drifting combo score of 53,134. I mean, the best drifting combo score. Second gear is just way too long. This car always drifts at a huge angle, and then it becomes near impossible to save that drift. Doesn't matter what tires you use, doesn't matter what gearbox you use, it's just not great. So like I said, tires and gearbox upgrades affect drifting the most. Four-wheel drive cars and front-wheel drive cars always need stock tires, otherwise you just will not get a drift going. Rear-wheel drive cars mostly need tier 3 tires because, well, they just spin out if you just use any less than that with the amount of power you get from tier 3 upgrades. And gearbox, well, gearbox changes, you most likely want to use manual gearbox and use first and second. If you use third gear, you're most likely just gonna bog down. So that means that second gear has to be great. It can't be too long. If it is too long, you'll just bog down and it becomes very difficult to get a high drift combo. Same like the Toyota Supra just seeing right now. It has the same problem like 240SX, same like the 350Z. Number 16 we have the first front-wheel drive car, the Toyota Celica. Just like I said, you want to use stock tires with any front-wheel drive car and then just yank the handbrake every half second. Every time you see the rev counter go up like crazy, I'm just yanking the handbrake. You want to do that, otherwise you will simply not get a good drifting combo. It is definitely not fun to drift that way with front-wheel drive cars, but it is by far the best way to drift. Same like the Golf, same like any front-wheel drive car. Some cars are just better than others. Front-wheel drive cars, it really doesn't really matter what type of gearbox you use, because the fronts will always have some amount of power because you're using stock tires. It is the same like the Mitsubishi Lancer number 14. I acquired, well, 136,558 points, which is already drifting. There is no like, when you see like good drift, amazing drift, incredible drift, and at 100,000 points you get the message Drift King. There is no other message besides 100,000 Drift King that you will get. At number 13 we have the Honda Civic. It is the exact same thing with the previous front-wheel drive cars. Use stock tires, yank the handbrake every half second, something like that, and you get a pretty decent drift. It's not fun to drift this way, but it's by far the best way. At number 12 we have the Peugeot 206, which is the exact same story. Like the Civic, like the Lancer, like the Golf, like the Celica. Use stock tires, yank the handbrake every time you transition a corner, yank the handbrake about every half second, you'll be fine. At number 11 we have the Mitsubishi Eclipse, which is an all-wheel drive car, and I'm just gonna say it, this car would have been second if the gearbox was any better. The second gear is just too long, doesn't matter which gearbox you use. Stock tires as always on 4-wheel drive cars, but you probably can do amazing with it, and it could have been any better, but its second gear just becomes so frustrating that, well, yeah, it is what it is. At number 10 we have the Acura RSX, and to be honest, the Acura RSX, I mean, it was a bit difficult, even with stock tires. I feel like I still had slightly too much grip for my taste. It was a good front-wheel drive car to drift. There are better front-wheel drive cars to drift, but it is not half bad. I mean, what can I say at 312,000 points? At number 9 we have the Mazda RX-7, which, to be honest, I thought would have been higher. But I mean, at 340,000 points, I mean, I can't complain much. Gear tuning is just too long, and you can get fairly easily trapped in a slide you can't come out of. It is almost somewhat the same like the Nissan 350Z and then the 240SX, but not nearly as bad. At number 8 we have the Hyundai Coupe, and well, we're getting into what I believe are some of the best front-wheel drive cars to drift. I acquired a score of 404,000 points as my best drifting combo. It is really good. Again, yank the handbrake every half second or so. Use stock tires. I don't think it really matters what gearbox you use at front wheel drive cars. It is what it is. At number 7 we have what used to be my favorite drifting car of the game. The Mazda MX-5. It's an incredible car. It is slightly easier to control and slightly more forgiving than the Mazda RX-7. But that doesn't mean that it is impossible to make mistakes. But at 443,000 points, I can't complain. It's an amazing car, it's an incredible car, you'll do fine. At number 6 we have the Nissan Sentra. And well, I'm just gonna say the same thing like I have been with every other front wheel drive car. Yank the handbrake every half second or so, use stock tires, doesn't matter what gearbox you use, and you'll be fine. At 515,000 points, I mean, we're getting into the 500,000 points, which is just amazing. We have reached the top 5, and at number 5 we have the Dodge Neon. And let me tell you, the top 5 are in a league of their own, because all the top 5 cars, I have managed to achieve a single combo over the entire 10 laps. That means no second combos, everything has been done in one single combo. It was now just a matter of how often could I go over the bonus zone, how often could I go. If you didn't know, you need to go at least 80 kilometers an hour or 50 miles an hour to activate the bonus zone. It doesn't matter if you're going below that speed and you go over the bonus zone doesn't trigger because you're simply not going fast enough. Dodge Neon was just not really that fast overall when in terms of drifting. Same like the Ford Focus, occasionally you get the speed requirement and you can go over the bonus zone, but it didn't happen a lot. They are very easy to drift, and it is very difficult to actually make a mistake if you use the handbrake tap method, but they are simply not fast to go over the bonus zone frequently. At number 3 we have the Acura Integra Type R, which is by far the best front wheel drive drift car in the game. It manages to achieve a single drifting combo score of 860,000 points. And well, this car was just achieving the best consistent speed and enough speed to activate and trigger the bonus zone. You get 90 kilometers an hour, 100 kilometers every now and then. It is just by far the best and the fastest front wheel drive car in the game for drifting. At number 2 we have the Subaru Impreza, which managed to achieve just 1,000 points shy of 1 million points. I couldn't make the 1 million unfortunately, but I reckon this car can do it. It's just trying to stay flawless for 10 laps is easier said than done. I've done many attempts, I've tried many times to get this car to the million, but I couldn't make it. By the way, this car needs stock tires, and I believe I used gearbox setting 3, which is probably the best and easiest to drift. But I mean, I've did like 50 or so attempts, maybe even more than that, and I just couldn't make it, and I was so devastated. that I couldn't make the 1 million points. Until I've tried number 1. The best drift car in the game, the Honda S2000. Which I managed to get to 1,156,395 points. I've used this car with stock tires, the first rear-wheel drive car that I've been using with stock tires, and I've used gearbox upgrade 2. This car is forgiving, it's easy to handle, and it's very, very satisfying to use. I mean, with forgiving, I mean if you make a small mistake, if you bog down a little bit, it is very easy to get out of a mistake. Unlike pretty much any other rear-wheel drive car. I mean, the 240SX, the 350Z and the Supra are easily the worst. Then the Mazda MX-5 and RX-7 are pretty good drift cars, but the S2000 is on a whole nother level. This is also the very first time in my life that I've managed to achieve 1 million points in a single combo drift in Need for Speed Underground. It is genuinely amazing, and it is definitely my new favorite drift car because it is the best drift car in the game. And that is it. Quite a surprise for me. I never thought that the Honda S2000 is the best drift car in Need for Speed Underground. Again, I've used stock tires and gearbox upgrade 2. Gearbox upgrade 1 is probably safer to use, but you're less likely to get a high drifting combo. If you use gearbox setting 3, you are very likely to end up in a slide you can't correct. So gearbox setting 2 is the best of both worlds. And that's it. Not only for this drifting video, but also for this series. This has been it for Need for Speed Underground testing series. I thank you so much for watching. I thank you so much for if you've watched any of my other videos. I thank you if you watched all of the Need for Speed Underground testing series videos, even the original one. I thank you a lot. If you've liked this video, consider giving me a thumbs up. If you wish to stay updated on all my future videos and streams, consider subscribing. This has been Marky2200. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you in the next video.